Settling is to resolve or reach an agreement about an argument or problem. Every effort was made to settle the dispute. So, Makai, I have a question for you. Have you ever settled? If so, when? If you haven't settled, good for you, or not good for you. But do you know a story of time when somebody settled?
Um, I would probably say for myself, I guess I could say I settle a lot with, I guess, my expectations of things from people. Once I actually realized, and I did that probably for a certain person, settle for the expectations of what I realized I was gonna like get out of it. But never don't want to do that anymore because not only is that selling myself short, but that's selling the experience that I provide short. So definitely don't want to do that. I would say somebody else, I've known my friends, I guess, to settle, but we'll get more into like what actually is settling, like what do we consider settling?
Yeah,
Because what I consider settling obviously was not their consideration of settling because they still stand 10 toes down on what they did and they think that was the best decision for them then. So,
yeah.
you know,
Hey, but
what
we're gonna
about
talk
you?
more about that later. Well, for me, I think when I think of settling, I think a lot of when it like comes to my job or people's different experiences. But most often, like when I think of my friends settling, I think about the relationships they have, not just romantic, but
Right.
platonic, and then even familial relationships as well. Or even just like settling for what happens in our society. So I'm interested in talking about it. I'm ready to go.
That's such a Jamila answer.
But before we get started, I gotta tell y'all, we are back with the other Southerners podcast. If the tea ain't sweet,
It ain't Southern, baby.
welcome back, everybody. It is great to see you all, hear from you all. Thank you for listening to us on Spotify. Thank you for watching us on YouTube. We really do appreciate it all. But now, we're recording this in December. It's like, what, 4 days to Christmas when we're recording this. So this may come out around that
Oh my
time.
God, it is.
But, we have to get in the holiday spirit, you know? But in order
Beep.
to get the holiday spirit, like most of you all, we got our hair did. Some of us got a fresh cut. So I'm about to put my holiday stuff, but I did have to show y'all the fresh cornrows, you know what I'm saying? And you see Makai with the inches, the
Uh,
flowing inches. Now, in
I just
order
got
to
a
be in the
silk
holiday,
fresh out. This is my hair.
hey, it is your hair because you paid for it regardless. I don't care.
That part, okay.
Yeah, but I'm gonna put on my do rag because if you know anything about fresh braids, they can't touch nothing but silk after they
That
get
part.
done. And if you are wondering, yes, I did have a hard time sleeping last night because it did
Oh, they
hurt to
that
lay.
fresh.
I got these yesterday, my guy.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Day one,
Yeah,
but the thing is, day one, your head's too numb to feel all of it. You'll feel the most
yeah,
of it today.
yeah. Like,
Like, ooh.
and for those of you who don't know, I had a ball fade in the back of my head with waves. I think probably like a 3 or 2 guard, 2.5 guard. So, and that was like in May. So I went from that to now having braids. So you can, many of you may be surprised. I'm also surprised. My hair grows pretty fast, but also at the same time, um, I haven't had somebody braid my hair in like so long. So my scalp's still getting used to it.
For our viewers, I'm not our viewers, for our listeners of the podcast on Spotify, you can't see my face right now, but I'm giving Jamila the most really nigga face ever because when Jamila asked me before we got on this freaking recording, you're like, are we gonna do something like for Christmas? This is gonna be like the Christmas recording technically. I'm like, yeah, I got like 7, 8 different Christmas headbands, 3 different Christmas hats. I'm like, sure, I can make something work. I'll figure something out. I picked this
Yeah.
one because it sparkles, it's cute, it's
And
reindeer.
it's reindeer and they
I guess I'm
sparkling
like,
real nice.
I gotta figure out which of the reindeers would I be, but that's later. But of course, I'm looking very Christmas festive, and Jamila gets on with a bah humbug Santa hat,
and it's black.
and it's
Um,
black.
and I'll give a confession. This is like probably one of the first years I actually like Christmas for multiple reasons. But yeah, I got this hat last year. Like, this is perfect. I'm gonna wear it with my family. Like, they know I'm not a Christmassy person. It's the first time I'm actually excited to be in the Christmas spirit. So, bah humbug, because yeah, yeah.
Wow.
But I do have a
Okay.
challenge for you all. It, Let us know. Are you a person like me and can't name any of the reindeer? All I can name is maybe Blitzen, Vixen, and Rudolph. The rest of them don't
Dasher,
know their name.
Prancer.
Or you could be like
Um,
Makai.
like damn, because it's the song. I'm blanking right now just because it's early. But yeah, you should. It's the song. They say it in the song.
What song?
It's like, hold on. I'm gonna play it really quickly.
Okay.
I'm shooting blanks right now, but literally,
But other than
the
that,
the Rudolph, not Rudolph song. It's not the Rudolph song.
yeah.
Anyway, go ahead, keep going. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but I also want to tell our listeners how we've been doing since our last recording. I feel like we're now trying to get back on a regular track. Obviously, I'm not in my regular place. Y'all don't need to know where I am. Just know I'm where I am and I'm safe. But how are you doing, Makai?
Honestly, funny that you say that. By the way, I didn't want to say it wrong and then have to correct it later. It is Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, the song, like the original Rudolph the Red-Nosed song. They say it in the beginning.
Mm,
Um, so yeah, there's that. I just didn't want to say it and then it'd be like the reindeer song or some shit. But
yeah.
in terms of that kind of answers how I'm doing. I have been enjoying the Christmas season, but I've also been all over the fucking place.
Mm-hmm.
For the reason of I think everyone has it in their own way. Seasonal depression is just seasonal depression. But
Yes.
thankfully this year I have done a really good job at like keeping myself on track and avoiding it. So I think it's just been that kind of like maneuvering of
Mm-hmm.
knowing that like seasonal depression is wanting my ass. Like the depression
Uh-huh.
kitty is like right behind me. Like she's wanting my ass. But I've been keeping the festive spirit up. I've been wrapping presents. I've decorated the Christmas tree. I decorated the house. Like everything's
Mm-hmm.
so cute and Christmassy. So I
Yeah.
think I've just been really relying on decorations and shiny things to keep me out of it. But that's just me. What about you?
I think I'm similar to you. I think seasonal depression has been sneaking up on me and taking slight hits. But the people in my life have been really, really great and buying people gifts, planning to buy gifts, trying to figure out whose gifts can I buy has really brought me a lot of happiness because I have such an amazing support system. I have such amazing people around me. And so
Mm-hmm.
they make the season totally worth it. And being able to know I'll be able to see my friends and cousins and family this
Mm-hmm.
year. For those who don't know, last year I got snowed in Chicago. I was part of that Southwest fiasco, so I didn't get the opportunity to go home. It was just, like some people say, I had a Jewish Christmas and went eat, what is it, Chinese food in Chinatown in Chicago. So I'm excited for this year to see my family, see some cousins and people I haven't seen since actually the pandemic. So I'm really excited. I'm really, really, really excited.
Back in the
But
right vibes of the holidays, as it should be.
period. Now, tell me, let's get into it. One of our new segments. Shoulda, coulda, woulda. In this segment, we'll share something odd, uncanny, or plain right crazy that we've uncharacteristically considered. Why on earth we even entertain something like this? Why did we decide against it? Again, it's shoulda, coulda, woulda. Okay, what's your shoulda, coulda, woulda for this episode?
Hmm. I don't think that's funny because I'm trying to think of one because I've kind of been very impulsively doing things recently.
Mm-hmm.
um, like no, I did that too. Um, maybe no, I don't have one. I've been living life honestly.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh,
I
living
have. When I
life with
say
no
I have been,
regrets.
yes, and it's been very. That's been okay. So there's my shoulda, coulda, woulda. There it is. So my shoulda, coulda, woulda is feeling guilty for or feeling guilty or regretful for the things that I have allowed myself to do this season.
Hmm.
I think that is it back to the part of what I was saying about like avoiding the seasonal depression. I think I've been getting through it by allowing myself to just be a human and all that that is. Like I don't feel
Hmm.
guilty for the fact that yeah, I got upset when my mom moved one of the ornaments down because I was like everything was like mathematically kind of
Yeah.
put on the tree from my understanding, at least how I saw it. But when she moved it, of course, I let it go. But just kind of in that moment, like not feeling guilty for anything, like not feeling like regretful for the fact that like I've done some shit that like I bought some shit and I'm kind of like I really did not even need this. I really
Yeah.
didn't. But it's just gonna be someone else's Christmas gift now, so it really doesn't matter. So
Yeah.
yeah. So I guess the regret and the guilt is what I shoulda, coulda, woulda. Cause who fuck? I'm over that. I'm not a guilty bitch. I'm innocent, Your Honor.
Period. Look, my sweet angel, my Dallas
Okay.
angel, my
That
Dallas
part, that
angel.
part. Okay, what's your shoulda,
Yeah.
coulda, woulda?
My shoulda could woulda is most definitely, in my opinion, I could have went to the gym a little bit more in this off season. We had a
Oh,
practice Sunday, and
oh,
I'm proud of us as a team. Nobody threw up, to my knowledge,
right.
but yeah, I shoulda, coulda, woulda worked out a bit more, and so now I'm like
Okay.
trying to make up for lost time. But man, I'm just happy I ain't cramp up. I didn't cramp up. That's good news. I didn't cramp up. I
Right.
don't think anybody cramped up, and I don't think anybody threw up.
That's good.
Which
That's good.
which for going back into it and like getting really fast back into it and try to go back to things you haven't done in like 2 months for some of us, that's pretty good. We were all like,
Right.
okay, like are we
Cause I be
all like,
doing the same thing.
yeah, are we a lot of us like, but like trying to catch our breath, yes. But I am very very happy for us for not dying on the bitch. All right, we're going to move on to our next segment, ally or anti. For this segment, each of us will share something we've seen, read, or witnessed since our last recording that gave us an impression of being an ally to our as other Southerners or anti-other Southerner. Now, I've already shared with you, Makai, what it's going to be, but we're going to only do one this episode because this might take up a little bit more time. But ally or
And we got a
anti,
meaty conversation anyway in store, so we're gonna make this one a quick one.
we're going to make a quick one. This is going to be a preview to a future conversation,
This is a
but I'm
little
going to
hors
set a timer.
d'oeuvre.
You have, we have 3 minutes. We will have 2 minutes for your statement. I will have 2 minutes for mine. We'll have 2 minutes for discussions, and then we'll close discussions for another day. Okay?
Open that hoe up. No, open that hoe up a straight 5 minutes. I'm gonna get mine in. You gonna get yours in. We gonna do our discussion. We're gonna be done with it because I don't even want to talk that much about this shit
5 minutes overall.
overall. And if we don't fit,
Okay.
once the timer's done, it's done.
Okay, guys, we're gonna start that timer up and starting ally or anti. Let me give you the topic beforehand. I don't want to take up that time. Ally or anti Beyonce's Renaissance movie now available in theaters. Ready? 5 minutes. Ready, set, go.
You go. I go first.
Okay. First off, the whole issue with Beyonce's Renaissance, according to social media, is that it plays in AMC and it was played in Israel. Currently, Israel is committing a genocide against the Palestinian people. Free Palestine. That's all I got to say. Keep it a buck. There's no reasons you need to be killing civilians at any state. And you know what? I wait. Can't wait till Israel gets their ass handed back to them. But free the people of Palestine. Y'all ain't need to be doing them civilians like that. Y'all killing babies like with
That's
no
horrible.
care. With no care. But I would like to say the white gays love to choose when and how to apply who is an ally or is an anti. Because here's the thing. You could have said Killers of the Flower Moon. You could have said The Hunger Games. You could have said all these other movies, but you chose a black women's movie who focuses on Renaissance, which is focused in on serving and making a safe space for Black queer people. I'm not saying that it's right. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying you choosing some battles over here that makes me feel like you just really targeted. And I feel like it's coming from especially the Swiftie gays. I ain't gonna go too much on that, but I will say this. Do I like the fact that she had her show play in Israel? No, I don't. I don't really. And having the motherfuckers sing "Break My Soul" while they out here killing people? No, I agree. That's not right. But I can also say, y'all not doing that shit for other movies and shows that are getting played in Israel. Are you asking if RuPaul is still playing Drag Race in Israel right now? No. So, anywho, my point is don't attack or don't choose to try to put a battle against Black queer people just to save face when in actuality you need to be focusing on attacking Israel alone and not the other people inside the movement. That's all I had to say. All right,
I
Makai,
must need to check myself because I must have
you
been
have two
about to
minutes and
talk some shit.
40 seconds. Yeah.
Straight up, straight done. I agree with everything you said. But I think at least in this question of is Beyonce or not Beyonce, but the film, I guess Renaissance, the movie, is it an ally or anti? I'm gonna say straight as anti. But I'm the reason I say anti, not in the sense of the fact that I understand it's representation and it's a platform for the culture and the art form that is led by Black and brown queer people to actually get like a worldwide stage. I think that's great. Yes. Ally on that front. Anti in the fact that we aren't recognizing it yet. It's coming out. The veil is lifting and the veil is thinning. But we haven't recognized that this shit is just capitalism. This shit is just capitalism, and people have realized that Black and brown queer people have a lot more money than they were getting led than the we were being led on. In that sense, in that same sense, a lot more people are finally coming out as queer or having spaces to be queer. So your
Mm-hmm.
pockets are now being able to be dug in on. So y'all are gonna realize that yeah, she likes y'all, but she does only like y'all as much as y'all can put money in her pocket. Stop coming to her shows and then watch this bitch will start singing country for the white folks. But that's all I have to say. We'll talk about
Alrighty.
this on the next episode more.
We will talk about this on the next episode because I think there's a lot to be talked about. I know you have feelings for Beyonce, and I think some of them are that before anybody gets on Makai's head, first off, I'm a very proud Houston native, very proud Beyonce fan, okay? I went to Renaissance the tour, I went to Renaissance the movie. I was decked up, dipped down. You can go see it on online how I was looking good, okay? I was here for it. Now, before y'all get on Makai's head, he does have some good points. So y'all come
Oh,
on his head. I'm gonna be protecting him now. I'm a Beyonce fan. I'm a Beyonce stan. Okay, stand 10 toes down for
right.
713. H
Great for
Town
her,
slide
yeah.
down, but also understand like you should be open to being able to critique your favorite people in your life. Like I have favorite people in my life who I'm like they are not above critique. We are not above critique, but don't come
Yeah.
slandering my sis. Don't come slandering my sis. I swear.
And hors d'oeuvre for the next episode because it's very much so like I don't know what happened for me this year, but I really had a different type of shift away from Beyonce, but not just Beyonce, just a shift away from celebrity culture and consumer culture altogether. Like I realized how much of it is really like it's taking up so much of our attention and so much of our like awareness that we're not recognizing, and that's all it is.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad I got to
Now,
sprinkle in that little like, ew, that was cute.
little song. Tell them what season on top. I
Let's
appreciate it.
seasoning.
And
Yeah.
that's perfect for us to transition into the kitchen. Before we do that, we do have an ad break. The Other Southerners is a proud sponsor of the Chicago North Shore Rugby Club. We have been proud sponsors for 2023 and look forward to being proud sponsors of 2024. Good luck, ladies. And I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful season. And good luck at your next tournament for free tails and your next OPL season. Now back to the show. Now let's get back to the kitchen, everybody. If you are interested in, purchasing ad space from
So
us,
cute.
please feel free to DM the podcast at the Other Southerners Podcast on Instagram. Do not email one of us, especially don't email Makai. He don't check it. Don't DM him. contact me or contact one of our official pages, not our Twitter page, because we are no longer on Twitter/X because fuck Elon Musk. But if you are interested in purchasing an ad from us, please let us know. We are interested in doing business with a lot of you. Now, let's get into the kitchen. Today's quote of the
Okay,
kitchen.
okay.
Today's quote of the kitchen is: "There is no passion to be found in settling for a life that is less than the one you are capable of living." Again, I want to say that again. There is no passion to be found in settling for a life that is less than the one you are capable of living. Nelson
Okay,
Mandela.
right,
Now,
right, right.
at the top of the podcast, me and Makai told you guys, hey, today we're talking about settling. All right, we're talking about settling. And so, Makai, tell me, we talked about the definition of settling, but I want to see your understanding of settling, especially as a queer Black person in the South, right? Like, what is your view of what settling is?
So we kind of touched on it a little bit before we hit record,
Mm-hmm.
but so first of all, you got your definition for settling off of Google, right?
Yeah, I did.
Right, because that's where we all get our definitions from.
Yeah.
And I did us the honor of having the same definition you have, but when you drop down, it's like three or four different definitions
Yeah.
because it's different forms that settle can be used. So, another one, the second most popular definition, I suppose is what they're trying to say, would be pay a
Mm-hmm.
debt or account. Settle,
Mm-hmm.
when you settle a debt. The next
I need to
one
do some of
is
those. Yes.
adopt a more steady or secure style of life,
Oh.
especially in a permanent job or home.
Hmm. Oh, we can go into
Interesting,
that
right?
one.
We
Yeah.
can, okay? Wait for it. And then the next one is to sit or come to rest in a comfortable position,
Yeah. That's
right?
4 degrees of settling. Yeah.
Right? So then, but then what gets me even more is I guess there's like, they have like little bullets, I guess, in the ways that language uses settle that might not be
Yeah.
full on definitions. So
Yeah.
underneath the adopt a more steady or secure style of life, especially in a permanent job or home, they had the little like I guess like smaller definitions underneath that bullet saying become or make calmer or quieter
Mm-hmm.
in silence. Someone considered someone considered by nuance. Oh, someone considered by nuisance
Mm-hmm.
by some means. So you're silencing something that's like a nuisance to you.
Yeah.
All of that, just like keeping all of that like in the back of your mind, because I know I just threw a lot of definitions that probably like are all
No,
over the board
I
right
think
now.
I think that's a good way to think about it because I mean I feel like there's so many words that have so many definitions to that word
Right.
and how we use it. We got to be careful with that. But I think that's what we can make a podcast of, right? We just want to talk about settling today, especially as queer Black folk. And the first thing that came to mind when you talked about bringing this episode up, because this episode was Makai's idea, is settling. And there's a song by Summer Walker. I like
Oh,
Summer Walker.
yeah.
It's called Settling,
Right.
and I think at least in my mind, one of the first ways I think about settling is either when it comes to money or it comes to relationships. And so I'm happy to dive into this topic, and I think we should at least. So, Makai, I do want to understand though, and I want us to be able to eventually get to this question:
Mm.
is settling a good thing or a bad thing, or when do we settle, and where do we settle, right? And so, when I was thinking about this topic, I'm like, in order to sell, you need to know value, right? Because you
Hmm.
need to be known. Because I think settling is also another version of compromise in my eyes,
It
right?
is.
But I think also to settle, it's kind of like when my grandma used to tell me when it's raining outside, sit down and just be at peace for a sec and wait for the storm to pass. Like some of those definitions you said. And so I think for me, my question to you is, as a Black queer person, as a Black queer person who's a member of this greater community, especially in the South, in a macro level, right? Where do you see us as a community settle too much, settle too fast? We don't settle enough. Like where do you think bend the line a little
Mm.
bit more, argue for more, or we just like, hey guys, we could just calm down right here.
Mm. So I'm getting a lot of like
Mhm.
stimulation right now. Just and not in a bad
Yeah.
way. Like just I'm
Yeah. Yeah.
stimulated by
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
question you're asking. I'm stimulated by the question you asked previously, and I'm listening to the Summer Walker song you just said right now as well.
Mhm.
So I'm kind of like gathering all of that.
Mhm.
Um, Firstly, to the question that you kind of had in there, and then also it's kind of like back to the first question. I don't think settling should ever be an option. Because I think settling, like you
Really.
say, it's a compromise. It is a compromise. But I think in that moment, the question, at least for where my mind is, and I think this is possibly, and it's a little kind of like I guess radical to have this perspective, but
Mhm.
this is kind of where my revolution is. Like in terms of like
Mhm.
you have your revolutionary stance and like how you like engage in politics and like civic responsibilities and everything. And my revolution is the fact that like I do not know what settling is. In the
Mhm.
sense that like I don't believe in settling for myself. Like in terms of when I think of it, like I don't feel comfortable with the idea of settling
Mhm.
anywhere. Now, of course, do I find that settling is sometimes the only option for the moment of survival? Yes.
Mhm.
I settle if I need to
Yeah.
survive. That's when I settle.
Yeah.
Like, if you get what I'm saying.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like settle for survival is the only time that that should be really a thing.
Yeah.
But if I'm really able to work and have voice and kind of agency over what's happening for me, that's never going to be something that I settle for. I'm never settling in that because I think in that second question, where does our community settle too much or where should we settle? We settle for bullshit because we're told that we don't deserve it.
Mhm.
Now,
You
I
came in with
say
the word
that
today. I should get a
I
tambourine and start shaking it. You know.
but no, no, no. And I'm about to kind of like, what is it? Contradict myself as I explain it. But I say that in terms of, I feel like we settle in the moment of like opportunities and where we see ourselves and our dreams and our aspirations. And I think that that's just overall a society thing specifically. I'm going to like
Mhm.
just speak for the black community though, especially in like, I get to say this now. And the work that I'm doing, I'm seeing how a lot of young kids, and we've known this because we grew up around this same thing. A lot of young kids, especially black kids, settle for the idea that like we can only be successful in spaces like entertainment or athletes as athletes.
Mhm.
I shouldn't have to be stuck in a mindset that as a black person, the only way I'm going to be able to take my mama out the hood is if I'm a football player, basketball player, rapper,
Mhm.
singer, or now stripper turned R&B artist. We're just gonna
Summer
be
Walker.
real,
Hey, but I
and that
think that
happens a
goes back.
lot. But hold on,
Yeah,
hold
I
on, hold on, hold
agree.
on. So here we go. So we got this going on over here, like I said, for overall society. But then we know that queer people, especially when you have all these overlapping identities, shit hits you harder. So you feel like you deserve even less. So you're really eating the bottom of the barrel right now. So
Mhm.
I don't see a lot of our community really thinking or even like pushing themselves fully in themselves as the lawyers and doctors and things that they want to be. Because I'm, baby, we know the queer girls come hard. The queer girls come with the degrees and they do go to school.
Yeah.
But I think we settle in the moment that we don't see ourselves able to live as our 100% authentic selves in the spaces that we want to occupy. So we settle
Yeah.
on one of the other. And that's the point that
Yeah.
I was getting at. We end up settling in the moment of expressing our queerness as our authentic selves for the moment of success. But then are you really successful if you're not yourself?
Yeah.
Now you can go. Sorry. Just had to get that out.
No,
That was
no,
on
no.
my
I
heart.
think you. I think you was dropping knowledge diamonds right there, in my opinion, right? Because in my head, I totally agree with you. I don't disagree with you at all. And I think there's a famous line that says that, but like you know, especially with how in the black community we raise our kids, and that I think our generation has a better chance, or like the generations after, but you pursue what you see, right? And so if you don't see those things, you can't pursue those things, or it's a dream in your head and you are fighting to find something that you never know has existed, right? And so I'll give an example. I was actually talking to a friend about this the other day. I said, to me, it's very awkward when people say, I have never seen a black doctor before. And for me, I'm like, my doctor since I was a baby was black, right? Like the person that caught me on my mama's, womb was a black man, My
Yeah.
teachers are
Yeah.
black. Everybody who we went to, the test guy, the lawyers, anybody who we had to interact with on a professional level was black. It wasn't,
Right.
it wasn't, we found to me that black people I would say black people couldn't fly. You know what I mean? And so when I meet other black people who are like, I've never seen a black teacher until this age group, or I haven't never seen a really a successful black person in my life besides the pastor, or like those who I see on TV, is be founded to me because I'm like, don't you know that black people are magical? And then
Okay.
especially like black queer people, that's another centric into it. And so I think when we're settling for things, it's truly because either we know the value or we don't know the value. And I know that can be tricky on both sides, but if you know like for example, if I know the value of this phone is at least $200, at least.
You said who was $200?
Like the value of a phone I have currently is $200, right?
What phone do you have? That's only $200.
I don't know. I'm just giving an example, okay? Like if I know the
Okay.
value of the
Okay.
phone is
Okay.
two hundred
Sorry.
dollars,
Sorry.
like
Right.
I
Right.
know, bro,
Right.
that
Hypothetical.
a
Hypothetical.
phone worth
Sorry.
two hundred
Sorry.
dollars.
Sorry.
That's not realistic in this economy. But like, let's say I know the value of something is $200,
Right. Right.
and like
Right. Right.
somebody try
Right.
to barter me and be like, "Hey, I'll buy it for 150." If you know the value of something, you know when to step away and be like, "I'm good. I can go find somebody else to buy this for $200 because that's what I got for it."
Right.
And I know in the
Right.
condition
Okay.
it
Okay.
is,
Okay.
it's what it like. That's what it's worth. And when we get to that applying in different factors, especially for our black children, if you never see the benefit, if you never see the value in yourself and what you could be, or the value in your own intelligence or your ability to make things happen. And I think when I was a kid, they said, if you don't know how to market yourself, if you don't know how to put yourself in situations where you are mobile or able to adjust, then you will never see your value and you'll settle for anything or compromise for everything, right? And so you'll be giving away diamonds for $5. And so
Hmm.
I think you're spot on. I think selling is a big topic, especially with the Black queer community. I think and you're so right, right? Like I'm not going to disagree with you on the point. And I think especially when we're arguing for basic rights, like things of that nature, when we're arguing for the ability just to exist in peace, we can't just settle for they're letting us live in this one area. I should be able to live freely overall in this area because I'm a taxpayer like everybody else. I'm a citizen like everybody else. And
Right.
I live here like everybody else, so I should be able to have a say. And so I think overall as a community we do settle. I think overall as a community we settle for sure. And I know in my friends we have settled as well. But I also think, society has beaten us down that we're like, bro, I'm just ready to stop fighting. So you have to have not only the ability to know your value, but the ability to know, not have the ability to know, but have the ability to power through and stay persistent into what you know you are a value of. And one thing I think of is people searching for jobs. And I think it's very easy to, in some ways, pick up a job that isn't for you, right? Picking up a degree that isn't for you. I'll give an example. I was told a lot I should pick up an engineering degree. I did not want to be an engineer. Am I smart? Yes. Could I have been an engineer? Yes. But it's such trying to apply engineering when you don't give a damn. And
Right.
so
Right.
I settled for engineering and I would find myself very unhappy. And so I got into college. I'm like, man, I really love studying black people. Like I really like, that's what I want to do. I really like the idea of being a tenured professor. And so I started settling and I went for my actual degree, which is African American studies. And so I think in those instances, are those decisions easy to make? No. I don't think they're ever going to be easy to make. But I do think they become better or make our lives a little bit better if we can decide to do them as head first. Like I'm not settling for what can just be given to me. I'm settling for what I want and desire for me. So my
So
next, oh, go ahead.
but yeah, I was about to say because I know you was about to come at me with another question. First of all, hold on, give me like 2 seconds because I'm like trying to plug something in, and as chaotic as I am, I'm so sorry, but I was
Yeah,
listening to you. It's just because my phone's about to die, and I don't want it to
hold
do
on.
that because it's kind of a problem. Oh
Here,
my
I'll cut the
god. Oh,
clip.
there it is. No, no, no. Don't have to. You don't have to. Don't have to. We're good. We're good. We're good. It's plugged in. Whew. Okay.
Okay,
We're still here. Sorry about that, everyone. Brief
you're good.
intermission. Um, but so to your point of what you're saying, and I think I'm speaking to this coming from the name Dallas Diamond. So just follow me because this is
Yeah.
pretty much like kind of part of my theory of life that it will be released in a book one day, so everyone be looking for it because I do want to join the part of the published folks because I likes that you publish. I want to join you on that. But Dallas Diamond, part of why I really sit with that and really enjoy that name and kind of like feel aligned with it. Flashback to pageant and my platform that I called Refined Reflections. And I really like was thinking about it and like sitting with the whole like idea of reflections and diamonds and lights and what makes like how does a diamond shine? Like what
Yeah.
makes the light go through it and refract in different ways that gives it so much of like luminosity and luster? They
Mhm.
call them flaws, like they're cracks. It's literally cracks inside of the diamond. Even though diamond is such a strong stone, there's
Mhm.
still little cracks, like almost glass like cracks inside of the diamond that gives it this like ability to get a ray of light and transmit it into different like wavelengths to give you like the
Mhm.
shine and all that. But these are flaws. Like, but that's what makes a diamond beautiful. If a
Yeah.
diamond has no, the more flaws a diamond has, the more it's like shining, the more beautiful it is on the inside. But we don't recognize that, like, as people, as humans, the same is technically true. The things that we attribute and call flaws are the things that quite literally make us more luminous, more of a
Mhm.
shine. And I think
Mhm.
that in your moment of when you're saying that we need to learn how to sell ourselves, we forget the value of what it means to have these flaws. Because, yes, I think, and kind of to what I was saying, how queer people have so many high aspirations, like they really do. Like, have potential of being in things like engineering or STEM fields or law or medicine, and maybe not. Maybe they can just be incredible artists or incredible, like whatever they want to be. But in that moment, I'm saying, like, we know, and I'm speaking hopefully that we know, but I think that queer people know how great they are. They know they have the intelligence, the social skills, the just skills, period. But we're being convinced, and we've been convinced by our elders, by our parents, by our grandparents, by whatever it is who are in our life, that queerness is a flaw that makes you disqualified.
Yeah.
Like you can be good to speak. You can be an incredible judge, but we can't have no gay judge. You could be an incredible preacher, but we ain't never gonna
Yeah.
have no gay preacher. You could be an
Yeah.
incredible teacher, but ain't nobody gonna let no gay man be their teacher like that. You're gonna have to straighten up somehow. Granted, I know you talk funny and all that, but you can't look like that. You gotta straighten up somehow. You could be an incredible doctor, but I don't know about all that you be doing. Ain't nobody gonna take you serious.
Yeah.
That's what I
It's
mean. So in that moment, if we are so stuck in thinking that this flaw, which if we're speaking diamonds, we can call it a flaw, this flaw makes you even that much more priceless.
yeah. And I agree. I think I can't disagree with you, man. And I tell you what's funny is remember that doctor I said who like was my back doctor who like called me out of my mother's room. This is like our family OBGYN. So he's not only like caught me,
His
he's
name is
caught
Doctor
like
Who.
I forgot his name. But I know his like
Oh,
if I say I need to go to the gynecologist, it's like, oh yeah, we're calling. He's basically a family
okay,
friend
right,
of
right,
mine.
right, right,
He
right,
has
right, right.
caught, I think, me, maybe my cousin. my older cousin, may have caught my older cousin all the way to like the latest born child.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's been catching babies out the womb for a while, and he's actually a gay
Right.
man. And so yeah, and I say that to think like when, especially when you have an identity that is not favored. Is that a good way to say it? That's not, yeah, that's not favored, right? Um,
An identity that's not privileged, straight up.
yeah, you have to have some level of grit to you, right? And it's sad to
Right.
say that, you know, if you want it, that's great, baby. But you want to work really, really hard to have it, right? You gotta go over 1,000%. And I think about the judge, the black woman judge, Judge Katanji
Right.
Brown, right? Overqualified, had hit every single mark, more qualified than any other judge that has gone
Right.
up to be a Supreme Court
Right.
justice. And they still was ridiculing her, and everybody's like, this woman has everything, everything. And if she doesn't have
Yep.
everything, she just doesn't have one thing. And you
Yep.
telling her she can't have it?
Yep.
And
But that's the
I,
beauty. That's the beauty of having these marginalized or less privileged identities, is because we know that that's gonna be the feat up against us, which is why that quote and that whole saying like we have to work twice as hard to get half of what they have.
yeah,
What? Not even trying to be funny, but why do you think I
no.
even wanted a fucking master's degree? You think I wanted a master's degree because I really wanted a master's degree? Fuck no.
You think I
Because I want
published
a
three
fucking
times
master's
just so
degree.
I can have fun with it? No, it's so I can get it to school.
Okay.
So, and I think about that because I had a friend who had the previous experience of like trying to get promoted, and and they asked, so they got denied their promotion, and when they asked, hey, why didn't I get promoted? Their boss told them, we you are qualified to get a promotion. You have met every mark it is to be promoted, but you still got denied,
Um,
and it was above everybody else. Like everybody recommended that you get promoted, except this one person, and they got denied.
who is this one person? Did we find out?
I think they found out. I hope they found out, but it's like you're telling me. I like for them. I know it's complicated, but like you're telling me they worked so hard, they done everything. I am qualified, and then some, possibly. And you tell me no.
And that's that settling concept. Back to that. You settle in that moment of going someplace or going somewhere where you know that they're not appreciating you fully. I would not. And that's just that moment. That's my revolution. I will not. I cannot. Because it's the moment that I know. Granted, everybody else, the what's the is it appraise? Yeah, appraisers.
Yeah, appraisal.
I These people might be appraising my shit wrong. I know I am a precious stone. I know I am a precious gem. I know this
Yeah,
is fine metal. Like I don't care, cause baby, at the end of the day, if I know I am quality, why the hell am I finna listen to somebody else try to tell me? Granted, hey, you might be appraising for something else. You're used to appraising Cuban zirconians. You might be used to appraising, what is it? What's the man-made metals and man-made gems? Baby, the work and the magic that goes into the people that what we're talking about, like those people with those marginalized identities that have still overcome the odds and still made something for themselves through everything and all the obstacles that have been thrown at them. That is a different type of God made gem. That's a different type of
yeah,
divinely blessed precious stone. Like truly, and it's that moment that we're in a different type of, I guess, like get them in and push them out kind of society, that we don't really care about quality no more. We're just looking for quantity. So truly, a company would do some shit like that. They really would have somebody that's over qualified to the nines, and everybody knows should be in the position. But for whatever reason, and whatever hateful person that one person sitting in that seat said, really block them. And that has nothing to do with the value of that person. And they know that, hopefully, whoever that is. And I've been in that
yeah,
situation myself. So I'm speaking to myself right now, too. But I know and they know that the quality and the value that they are though it may not be appreciated there, it it will be appreciated somewhere. And it's
Yeah.
that moment of finding where that appreciation is. Back to the point of talking about contradicting myself though, settling in a conversation of relationships, I think we have a different type of fuck up in the head because we don't know what really settling in relationships is anymore. Because I'm gonna always go back to our grandmas and our Gmas. Grandma was settling for that nigga back then because she didn't have no choice. You think you're settling because this nigga isn't 6 feet and light skinned? You're fucking stupid. This man is treating you well. This man loves you and
Yeah.
he is fucking keeping you fed. You have the audacity to try to think you want to cheat on a nigga? People are cheating on niggas for niggas that look like Drake, and the niggas that look like Drake are spitting in your face and giving you, oh, let's just say burning you. Let's just
Okay,
say
hold on,
burning you.
hold on. Let me say something right quick. I think I
That's not, hold on,
let's
wait. I
say
just want to throw out there that is not any type of bitterness or resentment. It's just, I watched a really good Tubi movie the other night and I was like, bitch, you had a good ass man and left him for some light skinned nigga. And I was like, wow. Literally, just because he was cute. And I'm like, and then he started beating her
isn't
ass.
that
I was
the
like,
moral of
okay.
Temptations?
You say what?
Isn't that the story of Temptations?
That's the
By
story
Tyler
of
Perry.
everything, everybody. Oh, yeah. And in Temptations, he burnt the fuck out of her. He burnt her the worst burn you can burn somebody, bitch.
Yeah. I say, and this is my opinion, I think selling relationships is a whole different level of conversation, right? Like, of course, you still need to know the value of yourself, but selling in relationships, you gotta stack up, right? Like,
What do you
I
mean
remember I
stack
used
up,
to have a
Jamila? I
list.
don't like
So
that. What do you
hold
mean
on, hear me
stack
out, hear me out,
up?
hear me out, hear me out, hear me out. Whoa,
Because
right?
it sounds like you
So,
getting back into that prenup, Jamila.
hey, I don't think nothing's wrong with that prenup. I ain't gonna lie. If you getting married anytime soon, get that fucking prenup. I don't care. But we're gonna get back. Let me explain. Let me explain. Before you get on my head, let me explain. Let me explain, and then I'm gonna get to you. Okay. So I remember when I was in these streets, right? No longer in these streets, thank the Lord. I was in these streets. Yeah, I was in the streets. I was doing my thing. But I was looking to get off the streets, yes. And so I think you remember I had like a list of qualities I wanted in a partner, right?
Okay, right, I remember that. I remember that.
And so, I'm dating people. It's going right. It's going left. It's going up in the air. It's going down. It's going everywhere except I want it to be, right?
Right.
So one day I was like, okay, here are all these qualities on the sheet of paper I want in a partner, right?
Yeah.
Do I even fit these qualities? And that's what I asked myself. And so, although had all these qualities on a piece of paper,
Okay.
was I accepting these qualities instead? So then the paper changed, right? So then I'm like, okay, like does this person need to be a doctor, lawyer, engineer? No, that can be scratched off. All right.
Okay.
Does
Okay.
this person need to have a plan with that life? Yes. That is
Okay.
still gotta say the same, right? But like some of these things of like height and how they have to look, it just gotta start getting crossed off the list. Like some of these physical things, I'm like, I don't really need all that. You know what I'm saying? Like this is my range, right? I know who I can date. I know what I can stay and what can go. And so looking at the list, I'm like,
Right.
okay, what on this list do I really need, right? I
Right.
think the
Right. Right.
and then
Right.
but
Right. Right.
also
Right.
being
Right.
like,
Right.
if someone else to put this list to me, could I match up in the same way, right? Could
Mhm.
in other words, like a very vulgar way of saying is like, if I'm a seven, can I? If I'm a seven, I should be able to be with a seven, yes. But if I'm a five and
Right.
trying to be with an eight, then we need to talk about it, right? And I'm not just talking on a beauty scale. I'm talking about how prepared are you to be in a relationship, right? So if I'm
Okay.
on a scale, I'm a seven, and I'm trying to date a nine, maybe I should try to figure out how I can get to a nine as well, right? Like, or like see where the parting line is, right? So my opinion is sometimes you might need to settle because you haven't dealt with your trauma yet. Sometimes you need to settle.
No. And that's
Yes.
cute. That's cute. That's cute. But if that's the case, first of all, your ass don't need to be in a relationship. Let's start there. Can we start there? Can we start there?
but here's my point. My point
No.
on this.
If
No, no, no.
you
Let
if you
me
got shit that's missing that you know you need to be more in a space that you feel more resolved in dating, that
Yeah,
means that you don't need to be wasting nobody's time while you figuring your shit out. You need to figure your shit out and then go date.
yeah.
Yes or no?
I think it depends because I feel like hold on, listen to me, listen to me, listen to me, listen. I think some in some aspects of mental health, you will always have to deal with those things, right? I think once you have learned to manage those things by yourself, listen, once you have learned to
Okay.
manage those things by themselves, you know how to take care of yourself, you know how to love yourself through these things, that's when you can date somebody. But if you
Okay.
don't know how to manage them, you still don't know what's causing these things to happen, you still don't have it under control, maybe you shouldn't date anybody. Does that make
Okay.
sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm with you. Oh,
And
fuck. Why
so
was
I
I
think
playing?
when people are like, oh, we need to settle, or like you have to settle when it comes to dating, I think it just depends. Like, do you know your own worth? Again, from what I said before, are you overvaluing yourself? Are you devaluing yourself? Are you right on? Like, hey, you know what? I know I smell good, but sometimes my shit stink. Or you know what? The shit stinks so bad, I have to spray it down all the time. Maybe I shouldn't be dating. Does
Okay.
that make sense?
Okay. Yes. Okay. So I wish I should have been. I was taking notes earlier. I don't know why I stopped taking notes so I could keep up with what you're saying. Um. Yes. I do get what you're saying. I do. I don't necessarily agree with everything you say, but I do understand. And that also, I will just go ahead and admit I don't understand a lot of it, and I might not agree with a lot of what. Well, not even say I won't say a lot because it wasn't too much that I didn't agree
Mm-hmm.
with. It was just a few things. But I guess for the parts that I don't agree with, I probably have that. I guess like misunderstanding with because I
Mm-hmm.
haven't really had the opportunity or the privilege of being able to have dating, like the experience of dating as much. But I will say to those moments of like the list, I think the list is such an interesting conversation that probably needs to be something separate. But the list, and that's to the point that I was getting at. I think we end up in very lonely situations because some of us aren't recognizing, to your point, the absurdity of a lot of the things on our list.
Yeah.
And outside of the absurdity, the kind of like what the fuck to have all the things on the list and not even to be meeting most of the things on the list. I do agree with that. Cause like, you if you can't say you want someone emotionally sound or emotionally like secure, and then you're the type of bitch that's going off on people in goddamn Whataburger because they forgot to put pickles on your Whopper. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like that's kind of
Like,
like we got to talk about
mm,
why you're wanting someone that you're not in
or
that
just
sense.
being
That might be a bad
realistic.
example, but you know what
No,
I
no, I think
mean?
that's a pretty valid example because it's like
Okay,
one of the other example I think about is like you have to have your shit together. Like you have to have like your life. Like you have to have life
right,
figured out. Like
right.
I'm
Everybody want a nigga that got to
24.
make 6 bands.
I like I'm 24. I still don't have my life together. How dare I expect somebody
Right,
else to have their life together? Who in their
right,
20s has their shit together? 20s is for just figuring out what the fuck life is, right?
right,
Now, if you was in your 50s
right.
and be like, yeah, they got to have their life together, I
That
understand.
makes sense. You're 50. You
But
should have your life
you in your
together.
20s, we still trying to figure out how we're gonna pay off these student loans, right?
That part.
But if
That
you have
part.
I think like you know what I mean. That's on like barrier standards. Don't be out here expecting you know Boris Kojo when in reality you need to be focused on Michael B. Jordan, right? Like that's something
But
outside your
okay.
range.
No, 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 no. Okay, so that's what I mean in terms of that's a part where I don't necessarily agree with because I'm not trying to be. I'm actually not. I'm not sorry for this shit. Fuck y'all. As a fucking 10 myself, bitch, I might be thick, but baby, this ass is fat and this waist is hourglass. Bitch, I'm a Coke fucking bottle. This face card never declines, and I mean, The bitch is
No,
Barbie. Come
no,
on, let's
no.
just be real.
I understand.
I'm a
No, I
fucking 10.
understand.
I
I
could ask
understand.
for a fucking 10, but does that give me any, because I'm a 10, does that give me any type of like fucking like, I guess, privilege to be like, oh, I'm out here looking for a 10, or it should be that. I've had to humble myself,
Yeah.
sadly, I have, to be like, granted, just because I might be, because in that, I'm fucking 6 feet plus, light skin with a pretty face and good fucking textured hair. I'm supposed to be what people is looking for. I'm what I'm looking for. That's my
It's
fucking
giving
target.
elitism.
Hey, it's just true. I mean, granted, but if we're thinking about like how we rank attractiveness, especially in the black community, bitch, I mean that is what it is. But if that's what I'm looking
You
for,
are
just
saying
because I look
problematic
like
things.
this, I mean, I'm not agreeing with it. I'm not saying I agree with it. But the truth of the matter is, that's what the fuck like we living in.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it should be that way, but that as I see when I'm walking up to a door, a nigga will run to the door in front of me to open it for me. If I'm looking at somebody do the exact same thing, somebody that don't look like me, do not get that same diligence. I've noticed it and I recognize it. And granted, I'm playing my fucking cards because I'm trying to live the soft life. I am.
Yeah.
I am. And I'm not gonna lie. But in that, to the point of what I was trying to make, just because I do have these characteristics that's supposed to sit me atop someplace or whatever, doesn't give me any type of privilege to think that, oh, I can put that shit on my list and some other bitch that don't look like me shouldn't. No, the shit is just as absurd. Regardless, if you are a fucking 10, you thinking you're like, oh, this nigga gotta look at XYZ type of way, you're fucking stupid. Like,
Yeah.
as am I, like, granted, is my type maybe, 6 feet light skin, and the nigga might be that Victor nigga on the, from France that's playing for the goddamn NBA right now? Maybe. 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 Is my type niggas like Odell Beckham Jr.? Maybe. Maybe. But does that mean that I can put on my list that if a nigga don't look like them, I ain't talking to him? That's fucking stupid. No.
Yeah.
A short king could sweep me off my fucking feet. And that's the point that I was trying to say. I think a lot of us are in that point of thinking that we shouldn't settle for a short nigga, or we shouldn't settle for a nigga that don't look like Michael B. Jordan or Victor, whatever the fuck his name is.
Victor
No.
Oladipo.
Sure. However the fuck you say it. Yeah, him. That's people writing shit like that on their list, being like, I'm not settling if a nigga not that. And it's like, baby girl, you shouldn't be thinking of if you don't get Victor, you're settling. You should realize that you're settling for a very empty shell of a life by just going that route for how you choose romance, how you choose to engage with the idea of seeking romance.
Hmm.
That's the part I was coming from. If I get canceled for letting you host know I'm a 10, guess what? I'll put you bitches in a burn book and it won't make me no different.
Okay.
So yeah.
But no, I think you're on a good point because I think about, in my perspective, right? I think sometimes the most non-conventionally attractive people get looked over a lot. And I remember a cheerleader was
They
dating this
do.
regular looking dude, right? This regular looking dude, and he proposed to her at a basketball game or something. And everybody was like, "Who is this dude? And how did he get a cheerleader?" Right? You don't know that man. He could be. I rub your feet when you get home,
Where
baby. I
is
got your
it? Where
food
is it?
ready. But like,
Where
here's the
is
thing. I think
it?
people like put so much into looks, and I'm not saying like date somebody you're not unattracted to. No, date somebody you're attracted to. But I'm also saying like some people date people because they know their friends will be like, oh, she hot. You know what I'm saying? But date somebody
Yeah,
who you want to date.
definitely.
Date somebody who you want to date. Because like I'm be honest, at the end of the day, I don't need a 10. I got a 10, thank God. But not everybody is a 10, right? But is it a 10 because it's how we value as society, how we look at what beautiful people are? Or are you saying a 10 is because of who that person is as a person, right? That's my opinion. I know a lot of conventionally pretty people who are not good people in relationships. I know a lot of people who get looked over who are really, really sweet, but they just aren't conventionally attractive. And so like they get looked over, but I'm like, man, if they don't see you as a catch, that's their problem. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
And see, here's where I wish I was doing so good with keeping up with TikToks for the podcast, and I don't know why. I didn't think we would have went this route in the conversation, so that's why I don't have
Yeah,
these like on demand. But since we are here, I if I do find them, I'd love to like tell anybody who's interested or give it over to anybody so they can see it for themselves. But to what you're saying, I'm specifically thinking of two TikToks. The first one is the girl that's basically like it went viral for a little bit, so you might know what I'm talking about. Where she says like your best eater and beater is not the like 6+ whatever. Like I think she might have said 6+ light skin. Like and that's very like to the point. Like the niggas that probably will treat you the best and the niggas that probably will like really be like for you and about you is not the niggas that you like are aesthetically chasing. Segue to the second TikTok was I want to say he was a black queer content creator. I don't know for sure. He could just be a black. I do know for sure they were a black man though, or a black masculine. I don't know. I don't. I'm trying to be politically correct because I might have got canceled in the last part of the conversation, so I'm trying to redeem myself right now. But either way, their TikTok was speaking on the moment of aesthetics and basically saying like you aren't in love with people or basically you don't respect the principles of a person. You are respecting people based off of the aesthetic. And he made the point of saying that Saucy Santana, the rapper, in principles is what a man is supposed to be. Takes care of the people that are under him, makes sure everybody is good, protects black women, like and speaks up for black women when they are being talked over or they being disrespected. Like
yeah.
stands on his 10 toes down and make sure that ain't nobody fucking on his like talking off the side of their fucking neck. Like principally, Saucy Santana is a man. But because we can't get past the aesthetic of his lashes, beat face, and fucking heels,
And
we gonna try
Santana
to
have
punk
a
call him a
good
punk.
beat.
It's also a fucking industry grade beat. You could fucking ice dunk slime this hoe, and that face still gonna be on. So, argue with your mama hoe. Anyway, to that point though, he's saying that like, but then the niggas that y'all do respect be the ones that have the snapbacks or the sagging pants or the trade aesthetic, and them the niggas that's talking to bitches like they crazy. And I hate to say bitches, like that don't make the point any better. But them the
No,
niggas that's
valid,
talking
valid,
to people
valid.
like they crazy. Them the niggas that's not taking care of their responsibilities. That's homosexual. And the only reason they're sleeping with you is because you're giving them a place to stay. Like that. That's not a man. That's not a man. But we respect them because they look like a man. Get your priorities right. So in that moment,
Yeah.
back to the first point of what you were saying altogether, it's like your best eater and beater, or even like the best man possibly is not the man that you're out here looking at. Like, and that's where you do yourself a disservice. And to that moment of the point that I was making earlier, like, and you were saying as well, these your list might be toxic, and you need to take that shit to the drawing board because my list was toxic. My list was toxic as fuck.
My list
It
was
was.
toxic. My list was
It
toxic.
was.
I was like, because
It
I think
was.
another thing is like, for example, I've never owned a car. I didn't have a license until I was 21. I'm not ashamed of it. It's the truth, right? And so
Right.
if I put on my list, you must have a car. And I had no
That's
car and I
wild as
had no
fuck.
license.
That's wild as fuck. And that's a really good example, Jamila. That's a
Like,
really
that
good
would have been really
example.
ridiculous. Because, like,
Yes.
I don't have a car. I don't have a license. That's
Bro,
fucking
yes.
ridiculous.
Yes.
So I think also, like, I'm gonna be honest. Like, let's say, and I ain't talking bad on nobody. I promise. But like, you like, oh, I want a dude who can pay for my nails, right? I want him to pay for everything. Can you pay for your everything? The answer is probably no.
The answer is 90% hell no.
And
But
so I
I'm
think,
so glad you said that though. Because go ahead, say what you say. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm cutting you off. Go
but
ahead.
I think this also like again knowing value and knowing what you want, right? In order to be able to even period settle, right? So, in my opinion, this is my opinion. Y'all can take it, y'all can leave it, y'all can leave it at the doorstep. You can throw it back at me. I don't care. It's my opinion. I said it. I can't be corrected, but I said it. I said what I said.
Right.
I'm reclaiming my time. Here's my thing. Y'all love, and I mean y'all, I mean general, I mean people my age who go out and date. Y'all love setting these expectations of other people you are dating and never meeting them yourselves. And not only that, neither do you know how to enforce the expectations you have already set or how to maintain them in longevity. Because I'm going to give you an example. I'm going to be a dead ass. If I stop treating my girlfriend how I treated her when we first started dating, she going to let me know.
Right.
Because
Right.
that's who she signed up to date, right? Like that's the Jamelia she dated. Am I have a reason to evolve or change? Yeah, but if I started treating her with less quality than I did when I first started dating her, she gonna let me know, right? Some of y'all settle for what you got in the beginning, and then settle for the fact that now the person you are dating now is who you want to be with, and then there is no possibility of you leaving them regardless of what the situation arises. And I think we need to stop putting people who we date on pedestals and realizing that yes, they are human, but also I was a person with you, I was a person before you, and I will be a person without you after this is over. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of people in our age group, it's kind of weird because we're still so fucking young, have so much pressure to be in a relationship, but don't know how to be alone. And so because you don't know how to be alone, you don't know how to be in a relationship, and you don't know how to value yourself. And so now you're like chasing for anything and everything. You got into a relationship that you actually don't want to be into in the first place, being with a person you really don't give a damn about. But because you don't want to like be that person on Instagram who no longer has a person to date, you just settle for what you got when you can really go out and do so much better.
Hmm.
I'm not gonna go too deep on that, but all I'm gonna say is you probably shouldn't be dating anybody if you don't know how to be an individual at first. That's just me. If you think what makes you a good person in life is if you are married and have kids and then you have grandkids, why are you settling for just that? Right? Why aren't you settling for more? Right? Like I think for me, I'm settling on happiness. Right? I ain't gotta make all the money in the world, but as long as I'm happy, we good out here. Like I'm good. Hey, thank you God. Hey, that was good, right? Like as long as I can pay my bills and I can be happy with the life I have, and like my friends are good, this is a good life. This is a good life. I think too many of us looking for
Hmm.
materialistic things in relationships, and we are so disappointed when we don't get it, or we settle for somebody who treats us like shit because they have all the material things in the world, and like in reality, or like because they look good on paper or they look good on Instagram. That's cute and all, but that's all that's gonna be good for. And just remember, you have to wake up and look at that person every single day and deal with their shit. That's my opinion. That's my last thing. So yeah,
And I'm gonna throw a monkey wrench, and this can be like what closes this out because it is gonna be a monkey wrench, and we just have to see how the listeners kind of go with it. But I think we might have made a really bad mistake, Jamila.
what?
I say that because I'm trying to live my life by the moment of knowing or living by the motto, not trying to make my value system anyone else's.
Okay,
Like what I think is valuable is not meaning it's valuable to somebody else. And I think,
I
at
agree.
least in this conversation, it really is what is important to you and where are you willing to make compromise. And maybe that's what settling really is. Because I
Yeah,
say that and saying, why is that bad? Granted, because we're saying, bitch, you're settling if you with a nigga just because he give you money or he give you a good time and he give you Instagram life. If your goal in life, if you don't give a fuck about having no career, if you don't give a fuck about having no fucking like legacy leave behind, if the only thing you are concerned for in this life is getting your Instagram life, as trivial as that might sound to us, if that is someone's true dream, that is disrespectful of me to try to say you can't have that dream because it's not big enough or it's not you're settling. As
yeah.
long as someone
I
is
stand
happy with
corrected.
it,
I stand
you
corrected.
know,
Yeah, you're
that's
absolutely
you.
correct. I stand
That's
corrected.
you. But in that same space, I do get where you're coming, and I agree. Which maybe that's just something for us to have to like delve in on our own. But when it comes to identity, I think that's where I was gonna like interject earlier in that point of like, are people really actually looking for partners, or are people looking for parents? And I say that all the time. Because when it comes to identity, people, like you were saying, people do not really have any solid or foundation of an identity for themselves. Like just standing on themselves alone as an individual. A lot of people don't know who that is or even like who that is sometimes. So we know that when that happens, people become so invested in the idea of wanting to be with someone, wanting to be with someone. I need to have a boo, I need to have a bae, I need to be up under someone. And you know, as someone who has had that issue in the past as well, and maybe I'm still working through it now. I can't act like, everything's just good and done and dandy.
Yeah.
But when it comes to that like identity, like building or looking for identity, a lot of the times when it comes to like I want somebody to take care of me or I want somebody to do X, Y, and Z, it's because they're not really looking for a partner. They're looking for a parent. Because if you don't have an identity, you need a parent in your life to teach you things in life to help you build your identity, build your character, which is why I think a lot of relationships now have so much strain, pressure to be so much more than what it really is. Because if someone stands solid in their identity as an individual, you're not looking for someone to take care of you. You're looking for someone to exist beside you. You're looking for
Yeah.
a partner in life. You're looking for
Yeah.
someone to just add to your life. If I have a partner, I'm not looking for someone to pay for my nails and my feet and my hair all the time because I need somebody to do it. That's a parent. No, if I'm looking for a partner, it's because I get my nails and my hair and my feet done anyway, and my partner is just trying to help make my life easier by keep picking up some of the slack because they love me like that. But people
Yeah.
don't come in with that mindset or that intention. They come in with the intention that, oh, this nigga's finna pay for my hair, my nails, my feet, because that's what he's supposed to do. No, baby, that's what your mom was supposed to do when your ugly ass was still bald headed in high school. That's not your mama job no more. Go get a job and go buy some gum.
And you know what? I'm gonna say this, and I think you're absolutely correct. I'm judging people too hard, and I think also with that same breath, I can say the list I started having evolved with time with people I dated, right? And so I started dating people
Okay.
like that, and I was like, actually,
I don't want
maybe
this
I don't want to
shit.
get.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
I don't want a girl who always have bundles and nails because I don't want to pay for that shit. I don't want to pay for that shit. I don't want to pay
Because,
for it,
baby, it's
right?
an expensive lifestyle.
And so, like,
Oh,
I think that's the beauty of dating, right? Like, you figure out what you want, what you don't want over time. And then eventually you'll find that person who you're like, all right, this is cool. We figured it out, right? And so, yeah, I think you're absolutely correct. I think we can always talk about dating and everything else. But I think, especially like over time, one, we learn. Two, we learn
we
how to be
learn.
better people. And we also change and
Absolutely.
evolve. So yeah, because I think you're right. Like maybe some people do want an Instagram type relationship, and some people want to be like those TikTok couples and everything. That ain't my vibe.
It's
Hey, whatever
not.
floats
And if
your
that's what
boat,
makes
how
you
you want.
happy, it is. Like, let it be. But if you're unhappy by it, don't be mad because that's what you thought would make you happy.
And it's okay to be like, you know what? I think I got something I didn't think I wanted, and so I'm
I
gonna
might want
exchange it out
something
for something else.
different. Yeah, that's
You know
okay.
what? And it's totally okay. And I think we need to be able to accept that as a generation and just move on. But this has been our topic on settling. But I do want to say our next episode, we're going to talk about the many gods in our lives. And now this is not about, we're not having church this episode. This is not about having church. This is most
You better
definitely
not.
a, please, we're good. This is like more of a philosophical conversation, right? What do we value that drives us, right? Like what makes us want to get up in the morning and do the things we do? What motivates us to get things done? What motivates us? Like what makes us happy, right? It's not so mean when we say
Mm,
God's in our lives, right? Like what
mm.
do we invest our time in? And like, does that really align with what we say? Because
Why do
we're
we
going to
have
talk
all
about
these
this
deep
topic
conversations like we really that like grown?
because I think this is something we talk about, right? Like for those of you who don't know, we've been doing this podcast for almost like 2-3 years now.
Oh
two or
my
three
god,
years, maybe
it has
four.
been a minute. I think it's like two. It
Yeah, it
ain't
has
been
been
four. I
very,
think it might have been like two going on three, maybe.
yeah, two going on three. And so
Yeah.
we started this podcast and we said over time we will change, right? We will evolve. If you listen back to our first podcast, It's most definitely evolved. We now have video screens, our audio has changed. You can remember us trying to figure it out. And shout out to everybody who stayed with us from the start. We really appreciate it. But why do we say one thing like, oh yeah, we about that? And I think this conversation came up because you were talking about, um, I think I had a conversation and somebody told me like God is a narcissist, and we both like had a jump scare. And then we like really dove into it. We're gonna talk about this next week on why God is a narcissist, right? But like talk about like who we think like we should be, right? Or like how we evolve, whether that's through religion, whether that's through philosophical practice, whether we have developed our own morals and skills. This isn't a religious conversation. It does touch on the topics of being religious. But what it talks about is like, what are we practicing? And then like, are we actually the people who we think we are? Right? Do we actually go after? Do
Mm.
we after sought? What do we sought after? Is that how I say it correctly? What we actually want, right? And so, if somebody is to look at my life and I say, "This is who my God is that actually who my God is? Is that who I constantly spend time and like evolve towards or try to personify this being as?" And like, I love how people say like, "Oh yeah, we're all Christians," but I'm like, all y'all are doing so many fucking things right now that it don't mean the same thing. It just evolved from the topic of talking about religion. So again, this is not propaganda, but this is a critical conversation about the how we see ourselves and how we practice and serve, especially as I experience as Black queer people, because I feel like that has a lot going into like what God people serves. And like, I'm not gonna lie, be careful around this topic, y'all, because if you're a Christian, you might get hurt by this conversation. I'm not gonna lie to you.
If you are a
So
stone cold, like Bible thumping Christian, you probably don't want to come to the next episode because I'm gonna say some shit that's gonna piss you off. I'm gonna give a
eh,
little bit of context for people to get a little bit understanding because where I'm coming from, because I'm probably gonna hit hard next podcast for sure. If I haven't been canceled before, I'm probably gonna get canceled the next one. Guess what?
I'm
It's
gonna
the
get
way you
canceled the
act.
next one.
But I would say if you haven't seen anything, look at a few clips or episodes if you have the time of American Gods. I
American
think it was
Gods. This is what this
I think it's
conversation is being
FX.
based off of. Yes,
Yes,
on
I think it was
FX.
FX. Yes, it was FX that did it. But all in all, it's really like kind of the principle of like the things that you believe in. Let me start. Let's start that over. Things only have power. Beings, divine ideas only have power because you believe in them. So
Yeah,
truly, what do you believe in? Because I think a lot of us already know or have an okay understanding of what society's God is. Like Christian society's God, we understand like what that looks like. And that's part of the conversation. But I think what we're going to be touching on in the next episode more so is going to be like individually, like as single people, what is the real God that you serve? Like, because granted, of course, like you say, people are gonna all point back to the same Christian society. Oh, I'm Christian. I'm a God. That's the God I serve. But in your everyday life, baby, God's not walking behind you everything you do. If
yeah,
anything, the spirit of Hennessy is right behind you. But that's for
yeah.
next conversation.
We might. I will. I might have some Saudi slander. I might have some Saudi slander, but I will say
Wait,
this:
the rapper girl?
no, Saudi Arabia.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Saudi, like hot girl.
No, I'm talking about
That's
like what
embarrassing.
I think. One thing we really need to start thinking about is like, I love how societies, and we're talking a little about the topic, but we're gonna dive into it. I want people to start thinking like, when you think of a government, right, and the people who run that government, and although a government may say they are ran by this religious group or they're not ran by a religious group, I need people to be reminded that the United States is still a religious state. Anywho, we're gonna
Girl,
dive
go
into
look at
that
the
next
dollar bill.
episode.
Go look at the dollar bill, bro. Where's my wallet at? Where's
Anywho,
my wallet at,
we're
bro?
gonna dive into it, but for those who need to catch up
And
and be
God we
like,
trust. You take a oath. The president literally takes their president to like their little swear in over the Bible. Like, and
again,
don't get me
ooh,
started on what I really think about everything.
no, okay, so I will say this: if you need to be like warned before the discussion, if you need to be like, what are they talking about? What is going on? I have no idea. If you want, this is your little homework. This is your pre-discussion assignment. Okay, go watch American Gods. It's available on Stars. Get that little free subscription and then cancel it. It's on
Stars.
Hulu with your premium subscription, YouTube, Sling TV, YouTube TV. But you probably will need to have Stars. If you want to watch one episode, it's available on
And
Apple
if you
TV and
need the
Amazon
little
Prime.
hookup link, because you know what I'm talking about, DM me.
I'm gonna need to DM you. But we're gonna talk about that next episode. But let's close up this episode so we can go ahead, get some hot chocolate, some eggnog. I think I need to kiss somebody under a mistletoe sometime soon. But Makai, it is time for the longest goodbye. And what's the next one? The longest goodbye and what am I missing?
Sweet. Sugar in the tank. Sugar in the tank.
Sugar in the Tank and Longest Goodbye. Sugar in the Tank. Sugar in the Tank is a reference to, hey, they got a little sugar in that tank. Meaning they're a little bit queer. Meaning he walk with a little switch in his hips. Meaning she likes to wear men clothing. Meaning they live gay. But Sugar in the Tank, they
Like
run
to
a little
wear men's
sweet.
clothing. It's hilarious.
The longest
Ah,
goodbye is, you at the function, you're like, all right now, see y'all later. I'll see you later. 10 minutes later, all right, I'm leaving, y'all. Get in your plate. All right, we're leaving. 15 minutes, you finally walking out the door. 20 minutes, you actually step in your car. I'll call you later. I'll call you later. I'll call you later. Okay. You start your car. 15 minutes later, all right, now you raise down the one of you still talking. You still trying to take out the drive. Message me. I'll see you tomorrow for bingo. Driving out. All right, now 5 minutes, you actually leave. And that is the longest goodbye. But
definitely.
let's start off with the Sugar in the Tank. What's making you sweet today, Makai?
My sugar in the tank is probably the fact that I had everything that I needed and like enough to do everything that I wanted to for Christmas.
Yeah.
I was able to get like all the stuff that I wanted to do. I was able to decorate the house. Like I said, like it really helped me get through like this season. I feel like
Mm-hmm.
so definitely have been able to keep me in the Christmas spirit. So that's definitely the sugar in my tank.
Yeah.
Um the longest goodbye is probably I don't know. I mean, I know I say this too much, but I mean it's just gonna always be my longest goodbye. It's just probably like old ideas, man. Like every time
Mm-hmm.
I'm really reflecting over what I like, I was not thinking that this is what I would have been doing and how I would have, like, how my life would have been right now.
Mm.
But it's really like the longest goodbye and like them, like I say, old ideas because it's like I'm so having a plan is important, yes, but I'm so over with. This is gonna sound so graphic, and I hate if it's too insensitive. So trigger warning to anybody who might be like on edge about it. But I really used to like put a noose around my own neck when it came to like the expectations of what I wanted for my future. And
Yeah.
like literally I would kick the fucking chair and like really like act like the world was ending if I didn't do it. And like how unhealthy is that to like put so
Yeah.
much pressure and so much stress on yourself to achieve something that like kind of to what we were talking about earlier, like you're really settling for an idea that you don't even realize is not really what you want.
Yeah.
So I think that that's my longest goodbye and like
We might
letting
turn
go
that one
that
to
I think I know
episode.
better for myself, you know?
Yeah, we gonna talk about that one because I got something similar. Well, I'll start with my
But
Sugar
what
in the
about
Tank.
you?
Sugar in the Tank is this is eggnog latte I've been having with coconut milk, and it's been putting me right into the
From
head.
where?
This little place in Oklahoma got these eggnog
Oh,
lattes.
girl, I thought you were about to say Starbucks. I was about to say you cannot say what you said earlier and be getting eggnog lattes from Starbucks.
No, it's from a little small coffee shop that does not support Israel. Again, we are still protesting
Yes, we
anything
are. It has
Israel,
been so
everything
hard not getting
Israel.
Chick Fil A,
Do
bro.
Chick-fil-A supports Israel?
That's what I saw. I looked at the list and Chick Fil A was on it, so I stopped eating there.
I didn't know that
I
was on the
know.
list. Thank you for
bro,
telling me though.
bro.
But I would like to say keep boycotting. All I love this boycott is working. Stop buying Starbucks. Stop buying McDonald's. Stop buying Chick-fil-A. Goddamn. Stop supporting
I'm
Disney.
fact
I had
checking.
fact check
Yes,
that. I know
they
people.
absolutely do. Oh, that's so bad.
Stop eating Chick-fil-A. If it's produced in Israel, don't do it. I think my sugar in the tank is that our generation is most definitely standing 10 toes down and saying no to genocide. And having the power to say, like, nah, bro, like, y'all ain't gonna get no money from us. So being able, no Starbucks, no Chick-fil-A, no McDonald's, no Disney, none of that. None of that. I'm sure there's a lot more. Go check the list. Go check the list. Go check the list. We do not support genocide over here. We do not support genocide over here. Support small businesses who support Palestine. Um, and I will also say this: just because you support Palestine does not mean you hate. You're anti-Semitic. I still support my Jewish friends. I hope you all had a happy Hanukkah. And I just don't support Zionism. And you know what's
And
funny?
that's why I'm
I,
so over it, bro. We know good and damn well we are not talking about them right now. This is politics. We are not talking about people. We're talking about the groups that is doing this ugly stuff right now.
here's my thing.
I
Here's
feel like
my
it's just
thing.
the same moment when we had Black Lives Matter and white people was like, all lives matter. It's like, bro, we're not saying y'all don't matter. We're not saying we hate y'all. We're just saying it is a real problem right now and we need some support, bitch.
I'm gonna just put on my activist hat right quick. Hold on. I find it really
Yeah.
funny how every group, every ethnic group has to say, oh
Hold on,
yeah,
hot
I
plate.
don't hate these people. We have to descriptively say we don't agree with Hamas in order to say we're pro-Palestine, right? But when it comes to white people and their little trash ass shit, I never heard a white person have to say, oh yeah, I'm proud, like I am who I am. I'm proud to be Irish, whatever. Cool, cool, cool. You're proud to be American. But you never have to disclaim, oh yeah, I don't support the KKK. Oh yeah, I don't support the Proud Boys. I don't never have to hear y'all give a disclaimer with y'all shit.
Nope.
I don't ever have to
Nope.
see that shit. I don't, yeah, I'm part of Black Lives Matter, but I don't support the violence. Y'all don't ever have to give a disclaimer. We need to start making sure white people have to give a disclaimer and be like, oh yeah, you're a proud American, so you support all this bullshit? Give me a disclaimer. Does it make sense? No, but apparently everybody else has to give a disclaimer, right?
Oh no,
Anywho,
they don't. I have to do nothing but be black and fucking die.
hold on. I ain't gotta do nothing but be black and pay taxes.
That part, well,
Be
call me
that's
Lauren
what
Hill, but we'll talk about
my
that later.
man. Please pay your taxes. Taxes are coming up, y'all. So try to do that as quick as
Call
possible.
me Lauren Hill, baby.
But anyhow, that's my sugar in the tank is seeing everybody protest. I think besides the sugar in the tank, longest goodbye, man. It's just young 20s. I'm feeling the hurt every time I drink. I'm in pain. It's hurting, dog. It's hurting. My knees.
Bro,
I be trying to do
shut
young things. My body be
up.
popping and locking and doing things I ain't never known it to do. My back hurt. That is the longest goodbye to my youth. Sleepy, sleepy. I know I look young.
Jamila, remind us how old you are. One
I am
time.
24. I'm hitting my mid 20s. 20 something about
Wait,
Tuesday.
wait. Oh my God. Your brain is about to finish its development, bro.
Yeah, and I'm over this shit already. I'm over everything. I get called grandpa so much. I don't care.
Bro,
I
I'm
just want to sit on
savage.
my porch and rock and sing my sweet tea. But we're gonna close this episode out. Shout out to us for finally having a short episode. If you are interested in doing ads on our shows, please do so. Also, if you haven't noticed already, we have changed our logo. It's looking nice. Shout out to Maka. Shout out. So
No,
yeah, we
shout out
love
to
you all.
Lexi, bro, because
Shout
that
out to
logo would
Lexi.
be nuts. That logo would be literally still on my iPad. It would be nowhere on the social medias if it was not for her. Because I promise you,
Yeah,
I don't be
we
doing
revamped
nothing
the
for it.
social
Thank you,
media.
girl.
We've been doing this for a long time, you guys. We've been doing this for almost 3 years. So please share the podcast. We have been having the
Please.
same consistent 15 listeners for 3
And by
years.
we share
So
the podcast,
please.
she's been sharing the podcast because I don't even be really on social media like that, but I did put it on my Instagram story this one time. I tried. I did something.
So let's get it all together, you guys. Let's get it together. All right. It has been a pleasure. Thank you for listening on Spotify, watching on YouTube. Have a happy holidays, happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, happy Kwanzaa, all the little things. I am your co-host, Jamelia Southern Heat Reed, coming to you from H-Town, hold it down, tell it down to the drown, with my co-host, none other than the
Dallas Diamond Double D.
Double D on it, A. But just know, if the tea ain't sweet, tell them,
It ain't
okay?
Southern, baby.
Thank you all for listening so much. Thank you for an amazing year. Thank you for rocking with us. We appreciate it. We hope to bring you so much more very, very soon. But till then, happy holidays.
We'll see
And
you
catch us
next
back
year,
here soon.
bitches.
Next year. All right, bye, you guys.